boop, 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 boop. Well, that was kind of new. Kind of out of the norm for me, too. Oh well. Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing the new Strokes album, The New Abnormal. This is the 6th studio album from the garage rock revivalists, The Strokes, their first in 7 years. In case you've been living under a rock, The Strokes, they put out one of the most iconic rock albums of the 2000s with Is This It? Of course, I like some songs from there. Why wouldn't I? I'm white. Since that record, though, I've been ignoring a good portion of this band's discography, and I have no good excuse for it until I listened to Julian Casablancas, his side project with The Voids in 2018, Virtue. I really wasn't into that experimental rock sound on that album, Virtue. I remember a lot of critics raving about it. It ended up being on a lot of Best Year Endless. I kind of thought the opposite to that. I think I ended up putting one of the songs on my worst songs of the year in 2018. I don't know, just something about Julian's falsetto, his trademark crooning, it didn't strike me as appealing as it did with an earlier Strokes album. So naturally I came into this new project, The New Abnormal, a bit iffy, a bit not really knowing what to expect, but still remaining hopeful. I mean, look at this album cover, like that is so abstract. Is that a bird on there? I don't really know, it's pretty cool. Beyond the artwork, my apprehensive feelings quickly subsided with the teaser tracks for this record. I initially was lukewarm on the lead single, At the Door. It's like this 6+ minute epic with ambient soundscapes, not much in terms of pacing or structure. It's certainly a tough listen if you're used to the older rock material from the Strokes. And no doubt because of me liking their earlier stuff, it wasn't really clicking with me at first, but now I am on board with the gorgeous atmosphere of At the Door. Then we got Bad Decisions. This dropped as the second single, and this tune fills in the missing gaps that instrumentally At the Door was kind of missing. Let me tell you, Bad Decisions is a great song. I would have thought the Billy Idol interpolation of Dancing With Myself would have panned out as tacky. Instead, it's anything but that. It's one of my favorite songs of this year. Again, taking me by surprise. Looking into the New Abnormal's length, it's intriguing with 9 tracks, but still 46 minutes, so short on the song numbers, but longer for each track to explore different sounds. And what better way to do that when you have Rick Rubin at the helm? He's producing this thing. He is a living legend. So yeah, Rick, he comes through. He nails every song on this album. Fans of the classic sounding Strokes should especially adore the song Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus. This was actually my personal taste test for the new Strokes album before giving the entire thing a go, and I'm glad that I started here. With Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus, we have the Strokes sounding cheerier. We got that sunny sound. It's hard to ignore the lively bass line and synthesizers, very bubbly. Now, Julian Casablancas, on the other hand, he sounds like he normally does. This is instantly recognizable as the Strokes, unlike the first 2 singles. Again, a lot to love with Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus. It might sound standard for the Strokes, but if you mix in those nostalgic and fun lyrics, it's a great time. Like, yeah, as soon as you mention, oh, that 80s song, how did it go again? That's good stuff. That is good stuff. Kicking off The New Abnormal, we have another great track with The Adults Are Talking, and here the rhythm is the main element that perks my ears, piques my interest. We have bass that pierces through like a parquet courts kind of track, percussion with a peppy backbeat and persistent hi-hat lifts. And my goodness, the synchronized melody between the guitar and Julian's vocal runs, oh, so beautiful. We just have a beautifully textured song all together. Moving on from there, transitional tracks are laced throughout this project as well. A good example of that comes with Eternal Summer. This cut comes in between 2 singles, and it's all about that everlasting season that loses its excitement. Essentially, it's just reminding us that too much of a good thing can be bad. Summer does lose its excitement. With this track, Eternal Summer, though, Julian's falsettos, they're sounding much more tolerable and tuneful than they were on the most recent Voids project, in my opinion at least. The chorus oddly sounds like Pink Floyd between the shouted vocals, the progressive and wiry guitars. Everything is executed with that Strokes kind of twist to it that just makes me want to keep coming back to it and it has its own personal kind of style. Closer towards the end of the New Abnormal, we get 2 tracks that have compelling mixes of guitar in both channels, giving it that surround sound kind of production. The first of those, Why Are Sundays So Depressing? We have guitar, we have that contrast of the arpeggios in the right channel and something trippy and skittering in the left. And then the second of those 2 is entitled Not the Same Anymore. We switch up the arpeggios, we throw them in the left channel this time, and then we place something a bit harder and sludgier with the rhythm guitar in the right. Now, I also love the sonic direction on Not the Same Anymore as well. It plays with some dream pop mixed with psych rock of the 60s. Interestingly enough, it also ends up being one of the slower and more melancholic tracks on the New Abnormal. Now, closing out the record, we have the song Ode to the Mets, which again has heavenly guitars and synthesizers all throughout its runtime. On top of that, we have poetic and just an epic outro. I mean, you look at some of those lyrics, they're just undeniably amazing. Julian's croons, they scratch every itch that I could possibly have with this captivating melody. I think the only thing that could make this song better is if it were an ode to the Yankees because, hello, duh, they're better. But I can't fault Julian for honoring his favorite baseball team and paying tribute to New York City at the same time. So, overall, with the New Abnormal, I like what I'm hearing a lot. Rock history is well represented on here, influences of Pink Floyd, Billy Idol, maybe even a little Radiohead. I like the lyrics on this album quite a bit too, lots of nostalgia and just aiming for this unachievable kind of future. The production sounds great as well. I mean, you have Rick Rubin handling each song with care. It gives each song what it deserves, whether it's more straightforward as rock or a bit experimental. I love the split recording of each instrument. It's like things were gone over with a fine-tooth comb. Now, there is one song on this album that just doesn't hold up or is on par with the quality of the other tracks. I would say that is the one called Selfless. Again, it has the same split stereo sound. The production sounds amazing. Lyrics, they even connect to the themes explored on the rest of the project, but the tune, it just ends up being so-so. Back to the positives though, in a way, this record feels like it's being made on the fly. We have Julian, who is always asking for things to be added to a song. For example, when he asks for a transition to the chorus on Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus, or when he asks for drums to be added on the closing cut. Julian here is essentially like the director. He's telling people when to enter and exit the stage. Not only this, but the Strokes are jokingly referring to their old sound as if like these nods to like experimentation, what they're doing on this record is just like a self-aware attempt to dodge that kind of comfort of the past. Yet they're doing that while still progressing forward. It's a really creative touch that gives this album a unique feel, a concept, all that kind of stuff. And that is especially nice when Julian isn't always getting what he wants when he's talking about lost love and all these other themes in the lyrics. Really, I think the New Abnormal is just like a fine balance of the Strokes' old sound and new sound. I think a lot of old and new fans should appreciate what we have on this record, especially if you consider yourself a music history, rock history buff. With all that being said, I'm going to give this Strokes album an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. There you have it. There is the review for today. I'd love to hear from you now. Sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of this music. Agree or disagree. I'm here to engage with you guys. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. I'd appreciate that very much. As always, thanks for watching and have a rockin' day.